One of your colleagues did say that there's been the agitations about Biafra in the southeast region. Did you promise, or some of your colleagues promise some of your people back home that this is going to answer some of the questions about the Biafra agitations? Or do you see this move by some of your colleagues as an answer to the Biafra agitations?
Well, it helps. It helps. When you know you're a part of a country and you're a part of a people that really cares about you, it will help with the agitation. Let me give you, for instance, many of the things we are talking about. The Southeast region has the lowest number of states in Nigeria. The Southeast region has the lowest number of local governments in Nigeria. The Southeast region also has the lowest number of course, when you talk about ministers as well, going by Section 147, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution, where the president has to nominate a member from each state. And so, coupled with these issues we're having with non-functionality or lack of federal presence in the Southeast, these agitations have taken place. You remember last year, say May 30th, in my own constituency in Idemili North, more precisely, over 50 people were killed from the same agitations by the Biafran sit at home. And that was why this year on May 30th, I had to move a motion to say that the Nigerian military should take it easy and security outfits, even in the face of provocation, that we should use minimum force. The agitations are real. People want somebody in the center they can really trust and who can speak on behalf of the Southeasterners and as well have the real federal presence in the Southeast. The agitation is not just because we want to have, or they said there was a country, we want to have our own country or something like that. I think the real agitation is that we need to be part of this country called Nigeria, where development is also taking place as also in other parts of the country.
Honorable Chidoka, does it for you, it does sound like some form of coincidence. It's the same week that there is this sit-at-home order by some groups in the Southeast, and the same week that this bill came up on the floor of the House of Representatives. But does it come to you as some of a concern when you say development in the Southeast, federal presence, the issue of leadership in the Southeast? Does it give you any form of concern if there are agitations on the streets of the Southeast? What about the roles of governors in those 5 states of the Southeast?
Well, I get your point. We have governors in the Southeast who, of course, are doing their utmost best to make sure we have some sort of governance in the Southeast. But we know that the way Nigeria works today with our strong, concentration of power in the center, that of course every month all the governors will run to Abuja to get their federal allocations. And based on that, the federal government keeps, of course, the lion's share of money from the consolidated revenue and then shares it to some of the states as they may deem fit, even from the ecological fund. And so I think that that agitation is that in most of the states in the Southeast, most of the roads belong to the federal government. Some of the heavy projects belong to the federal government. And so if you talk about the state government, there is a little to which they can really do. Yes, we want to hold them accountable for the little they have. We want to know what have they really done as our governors. But of course, the onions lies on the federal government who have the wherewithal to carry out some of these major projects. And so everybody looking at them to undertake the major projects. Let's talk about the Enugu-Onitsha Road. Let's talk about Onitsha Road, which of course some sections.
Okay, sorry again, because of the time. Because of our time, let me quickly bring this. You mentioned when the Northeast Development Commission bill was coming in, the devastation in that area. Do you see the devastation in the Northeast as the same with the situation in the Southeast region?
Well, let me tell you, Shehu, in February of this year, I had the rare privilege of visiting Borno State and going as far as from Kunduga all the way to Bama. And I saw for myself, and at the moment we went there in February, not many members, not many National Assembly members, and not a lot of people could go there. But I saw for myself the devastation that have taken place by mindless set of people, by the Boko Haram insurgents, who, of course, had destroyed 97% of Bama, that is in Maiduguri. Having said that, let's come back to the southeast, where there was the theater of course, the agitations of the war of the 1967 to 1970. There is real, that our agitations are real. When you look at it also, there are so many other projects that have not been undertaken since after the Civil War. For example, the Niger Bridge you're talking about was built in 1963. And of course, the vehicular movement in 1963 is not the same in 2017. So even if we don't have a Boko Haram that's attacking cities or towns on a daily basis, of course we have federal government infrastructure that hasn't been taken care of since even before the war.
Okay, if I may, just before I allow you go, Honorable Chidoka, a lot of people would debate that there seems to be a very big gap, a big leadership deficit in that region, and that's why we see some of the things that we see. But before, on the last note now, just in a minute, what would you suggest as a sort of a permanent solution to some of the agitations that we see? You're a lawmaker, a leader in that region. What do you think will solve a permanent solution to the agitations on some of the streets of the southeast region?
Well, so many people have called for restructuring, but I can tell you is to address the real, clear, and present issues we're having in the southeast and some other parts of the country. Those issues have to be resolved. When we resolve such issues, then every other thing will follow suit. For example, we took it for granted that our Southeast Development Bill was going to pass through the National Assembly, and it's not. Now, to the average Igbo man or to the average person on the street, we look at it as also another part of that marginalization we're talking about. When we want to look at it, Nigeria has to be treated as one. The same way that we had the third mainland bridge built by the federal government, the same way that we should also have the second mainland bridge built by the federal government.
Okay.
Now, when you're talking about these agitations, we have to take our issues one after the other to make sure that those issues are now resolved.
All right. That's how far we can go. We must leave it at that. We have some other issues that we need to attend to. But many thanks for coming on the program. Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on the Environment, Honorable OBINNA Chidoka, member of the PDP from Anambra State. Many thanks for talking to us on the program. We take a moment on the program.